The Oversight Committee under the leadership of Mr. Upton and myself as chair were able to define the problems. Now, on that side of the aisle, they obviously are going to defend the administration. But you can't defend an administration that lost $535 million. And they did so in a way that violated the Energy Policy Act of 2005. Now, the ranking member, Mr. Gedd, indicated that nothing was done wrong. I think if she looks carefully at the evidence, obviously a lot was done wrong. Because the Energy Policy Act said you cannot subordinate taxpayers' money to the two hedge funds that they did. And also, I think when you look at the evidence, you'll see that there's wholly mismanagement by the administration and the Department of Energy. And actually, there were so many warning signs that in the end, this should have never gone forward, and this came from the administration. So, my colleagues, I rise in strong support of H.R. 6213, the No More Solyndras Act, which I am proud to join with Chairman Upton in sponsoring. And as mentioned, this is a culmination of 18 months of thorough investigation by our Oversight Investigation Committee. And Solyndra, as many of you know, is a California-based solar panel manufacturer that not only went bankrupt, but was raided by the FBI a week later, and they lost almost $500 million. Now, my colleagues, this bill was systematically put together carefully. It will phase out the Department of Energy's grossly mismanagement loan guarantee program by simply stopping DOE from issuing any loan guarantees for application submitted after December 31st, 2011. But for those applications submitted prior to December 2011 cutoff date, the legislation allows them to remain eligible to receive a guarantee, but subjects them to tougher scrutiny, and provides taxpayers strong new protections, including, let me outline these 4 basic protections: forbidding the subordination of U.S. taxpayers' dollars at any time to private investors. Number 2, requiring the Department of Energy to submit to Congress a transparency report that details the specifics of any new loan program, which is going to be guaranteed by our taxpayers. Number 3, requiring the Department of Energy to first consult with Treasury prior to any restructuring of a guarantee. And 4th, holding DOE officials accountable for their actions by imposing penalties on them for failing to follow the law. Certainly, the folks on this side of the aisle would agree with that if we have continued subordination and these people do it in violation of this act, there should be some accountability. As many of you know, Solyndra was the first, as Mr. Upton mentioned, the first recipient of a DOE loan guarantee under Title 17 of the Energy Policy Act 2005. It also holds a dubious title as the first stimulus-backed recipient loan guarantee to actually go bankrupt. Just 2 years after the loan closed and 6 months after DOE restructured the loan. So it didn't take long for these folks to end up in bankruptcy. And when they were out of cash, the Obama administration doubled down on their bad debt. Now, why would the administration double down on their bad debt? I think we'll go into that further as we go into this debate. They attempted to restructure Solyndra's loan and subordinate the interest of the taxpayer to 2 very, very wealthy and well-connected investors, all but ensuring taxpayers will never, ever see a dime. Other DOE loan recipients have also struggled. 3 of the first 5 companies which received loan guarantees issued by DOE's loan guarantee program, Solyndra, Beacon, Abound Solar, have all filed for bankruptcy, losing hundreds of millions of taxpayers' dollars that will never, ever, ever be recovered. 2 other companies are struggling, my colleagues. Nevada Geothermal has substantial debt and no positive cash flow, and First Wind had to withdraw their planned IPO and also has substantial debt. So on behalf of the American taxpayers, we had a duty to figure out what went wrong with Solyndra loan guarantee and whether the loan guarantee program was properly managed. And I think as we go into this debate, we'll show that it was not well managed. And as pointed out by Chairman Upton, it was methodical, it was systematic, it was thorough, it was over an 18-month period. It took us almost 8 months. Can I request additional time?
2 more minutes.
Gentleman is recognized for an additional 2 minutes.
It took us almost 8 months after we issued subpoena in November to try and even get the administration to respond. The Energy and Commerce Committee requested, received, and reviewed documents from every executive branch agency that was connected to Solyndra and interviewed more than a dozen administration officials who played key roles in the loan guarantee. The committee has also reviewed documents produced by Solyndra's investors, as well as DOE's independent consultant and legal advisor. As the committee investigation revealed, the Obama administration put Solyndra's loan on a fast track for political reasons, despite repeated red flags and warnings in 2009 from the Office of Management and Budget and DOE officials about the company's financial condition and actually the market product they were trying to sell, that they couldn't do it. It's clear that DOE failed to adequately monitor the loan guarantee, blindly simply writing check after checks to Solyndra as a company just hemorrhaged cash throughout 2010. When the warnings came down to fruition and Solyndra was out of cash in the autumn of 2010, the Obama administration doubled down on its bad debt, restructuring Solyndra's loan in early 2011, putting wealthy investors at the front of the line of taxpayers, which was a clear violation of the Energy Policy Act. Right up to the bankruptcy filing, my colleagues, the administration was willing to take extraordinary measures to keep Solyndra afloat for political reasons and ensure that the first loan, which was their poster child, would not be a failure. The investigation also showed that DOE failed to consult with the Treasury Department, which was part of the law and what they should have done, as required by the Energy Policy Act, prior to issuing a conditional commitment to Solyndra, and that Treasury didn't even play a role in reviewing the restructuring. Also a violation of Energy Policy Act 2005. The No More Solyndra Act will stop that, will correct this by ensuring that Treasury is actively involved in the loan process to protect taxpayers. This investigation and this No More Solyndra Act is a great example of how congressional oversight should work. Our investigation uncovered a problem, and this legislation will fix it. With that, I yield back.
Gentlewoman from Colorado.
Mr. Chairman, I yield 5.5 minutes to the gentleman from